All right, we are in Chapter 13, and we have been talking about how we're going to journalize payroll. And it can be difficult, so I'm going to go back over the 3 entries that are required to be able to journalize payroll. The very first one that we learned was when it comes time to pay all of your employees. So the transaction would read something like paid cash for payroll, $4,609.46. All right? Now, that is going to be the amount that you actually paid, but the payroll itself would be larger because you will have several deductions that will usually be given to you, and you will actually start out your entry with salary expense, and this is going to be the gross amount. Then you'll have all of your deductions, and you will subtract those deductions right here from the gross salary, and this is what you would actually be paying all of your employees. So that is the first entry, salary expense. Now I'm going to pull up the next entry that we talked about. Okay, this is an entry here called payroll taxes expense, and this is where the employer or the owner of the business, the boss person, has to record, not pay, because you notice we're in the general journal and not the cash payments journal. So he is going to write down what his taxes would be. So your very first entry recorded here would be payroll taxes expense. And we're not going to know what this number right here is yet because we don't know what all the deductions would be. So first of all, he's going to write down Social Security because he's also going to have to pay Social Security. And this is one of the deductions that he has to take as well as what he holds out of his employees' checks. So this number right here will match, or it will be exactly the same as the amount that he held out of his employees' check. The Medicare will also be, this number will match up exactly to what he held out of his employees' check. On the last two, if it's not given to you in your book, the federal unemployment and the state unemployment, you may have to figure that by looking back at the total amount of the payroll and multiplying by the percentages that are given in the problem, which would be 0.008 or 0.054, and usually that's going to be given to you in your problem. So those are the 2 entries that we've covered in lessons 13.1 and 13.2. Let me pull up the last one. It's going to come time for the employer to actually pay the taxes, and then I'll show you that. Let me pull that up for you. Okay, it has now come to the 15th of the month, and so you're going to be paying, this is the month of January, and so you're going to be paying the whole month of December's taxes by January the 15th. And so you're going, this says paid cash for liability because the taxes that you hold out of your employee's check is a liability to you until you actually pay them. So we're in the cash payments journal. This employee income tax payable, this is the entire amount of income tax that you held out of your employee's checks. The Social Security tax payable is going to be doubled because it's going to be the amount that you paid as well as the amount you held out of your employees' checks. And then Medicare would also be doubled because it works the same way. So the book gave us a percentage of, they doubled our 6.2 and made it 12.4 we talked about in class, and then they doubled our percentage for Medicare, which was 1.45. which made it 2.9. And so you put these three down as general debits, and then you add the total together, and this would be the amount of the check that you would have to write to send it to the appropriate place to pay for your taxes.